Good afternoon, everyone. Happy New Year, and welcome to Fridays with Keenan's Cutting Edge, where we discuss all things edge. My name is Jenna Labor, and I will be your host as we explore the dynamic world of Don Keenan's trial philosophy, the cutting edge. Those of you joining us live this afternoon are receiving early bird access to this episode. So you have the opportunity to ask questions and interact with our speaker. If you have a question, please type it into the comments section below and we will be sure to address it. If you happen to be unable to join us live, or if you have a friend or colleague who you think needs to hear about this topic, episodes are released each week following the live broadcast. So be sure to hit that subscribe button and click the alerts icon to make sure you don't miss an episode. Today, we have Amy Miller with us. As I mentioned last week, we are opening the year with opening statements. Amy was a fellow with Papa Don for over a year, and she also authored the highly anticipated opening statement book that will be released at the end of this month. The cool thing about opening statements with the cutting edge trial theory is they are always changing. If we use the same template over and over again, the audience gets bored, right? Or maybe that template isn't relevant anymore. So why would we keep using it? I still read opening statements from firms who hire me to do focus groups that use needlessly endanger, and I just groan. You know what I'm talking about. As I've mentioned many times, Papa Don is always making sure he keeps his trial strategy up to date and teaches all of us the most cutting edge techniques. So Amy, tell us what we can expect from the opening statement book.
Hi, Jenna, and thank you so much for having me. Happy Friday, everybody, and Happy New Year. So as Jenna said, and is so accurate, since the beginning of my fellowship till now, which has been about 3 years, which is crazy to say, I have kind of watched the opening template shift, had on the ground firsthand experience of watching Papa Don really go through the R&D and figuring out what works and doesn't work. So this book and what Jenna was talking about is really a culmination of all of his on the ground focus grouping, tweaking it with RAs, referring attorneys that he works with at the beach, and then on his own cases, really getting a template together, getting examples together to share with all of you in formulating your opening statements. So that's kind of the broad brush overview. And what I wanted to do was after that, kind of just start from the beginning, how, as Jenna said, needlessly in danger. So where did that come from and how did we get to where we are now, and some of the examples that you all will be seeing in the book. So when I started my fellowship with Dawn down at the beach in it's 2022 now. So 2018, right? I think 2018, I went down there. And so, Keenan Law Firm operates out of Santa Rosa Beach and Atlanta, but has cases all over the country. And so one of my duties as a fellow was to help focus group cases, manage some of the aspects of all of those cases that Mr. Keenan and his team were working on. And a major focus, especially when I started, was testing out this new opening, or new for all of us, not for Mr. Keenan, but new opening template that is now what makes up the advanced opening college. But it was a really cool experience to watch him formulate, okay, what are the elements of this template going to be? How do we want to change that old, opening statement into the new one that's really what focus groups are asking for? And how it all really started was simply focus grouping one of the old opening templates and asking what's working and what's not working to focus groups. And a lot of those, changes that we're seeing in the new opening template are straight from focus groups, just saying, this is too long. Like, what does needlessly in danger mean? Isn't danger bad enough? And, how we describe damages, all of those things came, and I got to see firsthand just the focus groups giving it to us, which sounds so easy, but watching Mr. Keenan do it week after week and focus group after focus group was really amazing to see the template that he ended up putting together. So by the end of my fellowship, fast forward about a year and a half, that's when we did, he chose me to lead the advanced opening college. And that's when we did the faculty training and really put together the new advanced opening college, which makes up pretty much the opening statement that we will be, teaching in the colleges from now on. And that makes up the book that we're going to be putting out. So it's really an awesome experience to watch those focus groups, and you can do it yourself, right? Look at the old, we have, where is it? I got it out here. The first opening statement book, right? You could easily run your own R&D and do an opening out of this book and do an opening out of the next book and really just hear the comments and the feedback from focus groups, which is really amazing. And those that listened last week, a lot of that too is coming from the statistic and the way that safety rules are presented now, and really just the attitudes of people in general after we have been suffering, through this pandemic for the last couple of years. So it's been a really awesome thing to watch. And this book that is coming out is really just a culmination of a lot of hard work on Mr. Keenan and his team's part, and all the referring attorneys that, across the country that he works with. So Jenna, any questions on that, or should I maybe dive into what the book is going to entail?
Yeah, why don't you tell us more about kind of the layout of the book, what we can expect from what's going to be in there? I mean, is it going to tell us how to put it together? Or is it going to be kind of like the direct exam where we've got to go by? Let's go talk about that.
Awesome. And yeah, that was so when Mr. Keenan first started talking to me about this book and how we wanted to put it together, there was a lot of thought process. Do we want to do it? If anyone's seen the focus group book that we just put out, that was more a how to, like literally, like you could read that if you'd never done a focus group before. I laid it out such that like, this is how you post an ad, all the way till these are the specific questions you ask, because it was really, with focus groups, we want to encourage people and make that really accessible. So that book was very much, although it was online, still, it was a lot different than the direct exam book in that it's like, step 1, step 2, here you go. Like, please do these. This will help you and all of our clients. And this opening statement book is exactly like the direct exam book and very different from the focus group book. And some of the reasons being, we still need to be cognizant, right? We don't want to just give to the other side, our template and exactly what we're going to be saying, in order, just so that they can, know how to attack it or know how to contradict it, if that could work. But, that's a little bit different, something that we don't want to be giving out an exact how to. And another reason being, I was looking at the direct exam book that Mindy and Dawn put together actually the other day, putting together a direct exam. It requires a lot of critical thinking. The difference between a, step 1, step 2, and a go by with examples, you have to look at multiple examples, 1 to 10 examples, and you have to yourself really delineate, okay, what are the steps here? What are they trying to do in each of these? What is the purpose, and how does my case fit into that? So giving that to all of you and our readers is such a better way to help you critically think about your case, and also not giving away, all the secrets of the exact template we're going to be using. So with that said, the book has, let me pull it up here so I know exactly how many. I believe it is 6. I put it together. I should know the answer to this. It's 6 or 7. There are 7. So 7 opening statements. And something that was really important to Mr. Keenan was he was using we have, I don't want to say millions, but a lot, like definitely thousands of opening statements that have, been written by people that have taken the college courses or that are working directly with Mr. Keenan. And his goal with this book was, I'm only putting in there cases from the Keenan law firm. And I'm doing ones that have been tested through a jury trial, through, hundreds of focus groups. And I want these to be, as perfect as they can be opening statements. So all of the opening statements that are in the book are, as you can say, either Don Keenan written or very much Don Keenan approved. And he was involved in all of the focus groups with all of them, and really, had hands-on with each of them. So that's a better way to kind of know that you're not just getting, my random opening statement. It's Don Keenan has, done it, written it, or done the focus groups on it, or tried the case of the opening statement. So that's a really awesome thing. The book also is not going to include mini demonstratives. So it will cue in the book exactly where those demonstratives are. But the focus really is read these words, look at the structure. How can this, using critical thinking, how can you use this with your case? And really watching, like, how does it build? We start with a statistic, our purpose, we go into safety rules, like watching how it builds and seeing how to use that in your case is something, that is invaluable and can help you, see where those demonstratives need to fit in. And then it's really tied to, it really just makes you want to go to the Seeing is Believing course, because then you're like, okay, if I'm going to put an MOI here or a timeline here, who can help me do that? And then it really ties into that course nicely to go in, because you don't want people, the consideration there is you don't just want to copy what someone else has done, right? You want to use the critical thinking of let me put my words down, and then what demonstrative is right for my case, not just copying what Jenna wrote or what Mindy wrote in her opening. So I think that was a really good strategic decision on his part to not want to include a lot of demonstratives. As far as cases, it's really exciting because it goes across not only the country, but also different types of cases. So the book starts out with, and I'm sure I believe a lot of people have heard about this case throughout the years from Mr. Keenan and at different seminars, but the UPS case of the woman who was killed in Las Vegas. So that is a tractor trailer case. And so you'll see that opening. There's also a nursing home case, which is really awesome, from Boston. So get that aspect of, how do we incorporate these nursing home cases, which are a huge, definitely an increasing amount of litigation in those cases as we have to navigate COVID and, what are attitudes in those realms. So it's really great to see that. And then a couple malpractice cases, one from Florida, the verdict that I'm sure a lot of people heard about from Greg Luther and Marjorie down in Florida. So that opening will be included. Also, the Chicago medical malpractice case that involves meningitis and a young baby from Chicago, that's included. And then really exciting, there's going to be a product defect / medical malpractice opening, which timing is a little tight. If the book gets delayed or that chapter is left out, it's because it hasn't, it had started and then was postponed. So we got to be strategic on including that and letting that out to the masses. But it's really neat to see, especially for folks that have taken the opening class, the undergraduate course, and then the advanced opening course, to then, because in the class, Mr. Keenan does a couple verbal examples. You see those in the class, but there aren't a lot of examples, right? We don't sit down and say, here's another medical malpractice opening. It's mostly helping the students write their own. So this is a great addition and really something that we're going to start incorporating into the course. We have talked about, training the instructors. It may be homework, right? You have to read at least two something. You don't have to read the whole book, but go through a couple of examples before you even come in. And it's just going to be a great teaching tool, not only to that college, but the rest of them too. So that's kind of a summary of the book, how the course is going to be integrated into this kind of new template of the book and using that as examples. And just how, listening to Mr. Keenan talk with you last week, Jenna, about the changing attitudes, and it just really neat in your practice to see a tool like this evolving, being tested, and feeling we have trial coming up in March, and having that opening done and feeling confident that that focus groups like it and are, following along with your case and are supporting you and seeing the things that you're seeing is just like going into trial with that knowledge is invaluable, right? And we hope really to give that to everyone else too, and give them that power to, know how to start their case and hopefully win it within the first, 15 minutes.
Awesome. That sounds super, super exciting. I can't wait. I'm already thinking about cases I could possibly use this on. I think I kind of know some of the template, but I'm pretty sure there's part of it that I don't even know yet. So I'm really excited about that. So Amy, you mentioned that there's like a graduate course that's going to correspond with this. So will the undergraduate course continue to teach the old template, or will the new template ever be taught in undergraduate course? And how is that disconnect going to be reconciled?
And that's a really good question, and something that a lot of people, we had to take into huge consideration as the college has been kind of evolving, because right now as it stands, and when we started the course, there was the undergraduate opening, obviously, and then we added this advanced opening course that taught this template that we're talking about here, and that's going to be in the book. We've gone back and forth. I mean, I can't even tell you how many video conferences I've been on with faculty and Mr. Keenan and David Hoey and Tony Seaton about, do we need both courses? Do we only need one? And, throughout this process, we've always at the end of every call come to this conclusion that, the undergraduate course is very valuable. It really helps, it's the second course taught in the college if you go in order. And if you're thinking about new attorneys into the edge or brand new attorneys in general, jumping straight into this advanced opening course just didn't make sense as we had it written, because we're talking about focus groups, demonstratives, all of these things that they may not be doing yet, that students or attorneys may not be familiar with. And it just is way over your head where you're not going to get as much value out of it. So the undergraduate opening course still has so much value in what is the purpose, just the background of what are we trying to accomplish here with an opening statement? What is, you just took safety rules, right? You just learned what that is. How do I incorporate that? How do I, even figure out what I want to focus on? So right now, the next, and I did want to say, the next advanced opening course is March 23rd and 24th. It's still going to be virtual, but that course is the next one on the books for anyone that wants to take it. And the book will hopefully be all finished with editing and out by then for those taking that course. And we'll have to talk about, I don't know if it's going to be included in the course or if you have to get it, but that's something, watch the listservs, because I'm sure that will be a consideration. If we're going to require it as homework, probably going to need to, provide it.
So is it going to be online, or is it?
The March 23rd and 24th one will be, I just think, especially with MedMal seminar just being moved virtual, and just with cases now, things are still looking online. So, but that's a really good question about right now. That's the next course. There's no undergraduate opening courses currently being taught, and the plan is to be integrating, right? So that I would really watch the listservs, look forward. We're very much, talking about it, but whatever comes out of it, if there's two courses or just one, they're very much going to be congruent. Brian Sanford is the, faculty leader on the undergraduate course, and we've talked extensively, right, about how does one build off the other, and so students can feel like you're definitely not going to be having any repetition in material, and it's going to be very much like building off one another if we do two separate classes. So
yeah, I think the worst thing would be if people felt like they took the undergrad and then they took the grad. They're like, I wasted my time in the undergrad.
And and that was one of the considerations, is continually following up with students, and no one came out and was like, we didn't like this. It's like, no, they build on each other, and it's been great. And we love taking both of them. So I think that, whatever there is, you definitely want to take both, and you have to take the undergraduate to take the advanced, but I would just stay tuned, because we're very much in the works of making sure that they're both congruent before the undergraduate continues, or if we put them together.
Okay. All right. Also, so you mentioned that this is going to be a lot like that direct exam go by book where we have actual examples versus a book that tells you how to do it. So what colleges or resources can people access that will help develop those critical thinking skills that you need to understand really what's going on in these examples?
Yeah. And I think, obviously the advanced opening course would be the gold standard. If you take that course, you will there's 10, sections of the advanced opening, which you will learn, right? If you take the 2-day advanced opening course, you will 1,000%. We will obviously be talking about the book and dissecting some of those examples, but it's such a great tool. You'll be able to have that in front of you, an example, watch Don Keenan do an opening statement on video, be in the course, and you will absolutely be able to dissect it. So I think the gold standard would be just take the course, because you will then be able to follow so easily the template. But I think that if you had all 6 or 7 openings in front of you, it's so clear and such an easy format. I have no doubt that anybody that is participating, hopefully, would be able to really delineate, okay, these are the 10 sections. This is what I need to do. But taking the course is going to be so important because you'll find out the why, right? There's not going to be a lot of discussion in the book. There is a little discussion about causation first opening, because that's something that's included and new to be released. But other than that, you're going to have to really take the class to understand the template, or I guess copy it exactly. But what good would that really be doing you?
So for those of us who've taken the undergrad opening, and I confess I have not taken the advanced opening yet, but I have a trial between now and March. Like if I were going to want to do that, would my skills that I learned from that undergrad opening that I took a couple of years ago be enough for me to kind of understand what's going on, or should there be another college that I look into? Or
Absolutely. I think yes. And, I get emails and have had people in classes. People have great success with the undergraduate opening, right? It's not as if, every case that ever used it is resulting in a defense verdict, right? It's not like it's one of those things that's evolving. And do you want to increase your success? Do you want to have something that is in line with what focus groups are saying? It's not like black or white, like you're going to fail and your whole, it's dismal. If
yeah,
you can't get into the class and your life is over, right? But
get ready to lose, everyone.
Yeah. So this is just another tool. I think one of the biggest differences, and one of the things that's taught in advanced opening and included in these examples that differ from, say the first book, are checklists. So how, and I'm sure if you've been, or anyone listening has been to any of the seminars recently, or even in the last couple of years, you've heard this concept and you've heard Mr. Keenan talk about it. That's a great, so the new, when you talk about that, it's 2 years old now, but Mr. Keenan did a new Welcome to the Edge video. I believe it's 2 parts, and it's online. He goes through in great length what checklists are, right? So that would be a great resource, because that kind of difference of the two would be checklists. And there's he talks about it, gives you examples. I think it's a piece of widely available information, that whole video, that a lot of people maybe believed was similar to something else, or were like, oh, I don't need to do like a welcome video. That sounds very introductory. And really in there's a lot of good stuff that goes over pretty much the entire concepts of what the edge is, and kind of breaks it down to very basic things of what do I need to be doing when I'm doing discovery or any part of my case, focusing on the system failure, the defendant's acts. And so would be a really good resource for someone in a bind, like with a trial before the college. Another really big difference between the advanced opening and kind of the older way to do it is this shift and focus on the system failure versus the client. While that has always been a reptilian and edge principle, it really, you can see a big difference from before and now in really working up that system failure. We talk very little in our opening about the client. There's a very small section, but most everything is talking about why this matters and what the defendant did and what they could have done to prevent this. If there was a theme word, I think of the last couple of years, foreseeability and preventability, and that's the whole game, right? And so that is, what a lot of these openings that you'll see will focus on, and everything you'll learn in the advanced opening college.
All right. So is this book available to everyone? I mean, is it on Amazon? Can anybody use it, or is it just through KTI?
My premonition is that he will probably do it same as the others. It's going to be an ebook again, so same format as direct exam or the focus group manual. And I believe it will be, there's gatekeepers, right? I think, they're gatekeeping when you order a book and seeing who you are. So it'll be available through the Keenan Edge website, but I don't believe like online, but I don't know that.
Okay. All right, cool. So we have a question slash hope, I guess, from Glenn McGovern.
Okay.
And he's just making sure that you guys are going to have a manual for everybody who's going to be teaching the courses, that, the faculty is ready to go. And, whoever's teaching on March 23rd, I think you mentioned, is like trained, and it's just going to be super awesome.
Yeah, I am. Yes. So anytime, we already have our instructors set for March. I think it's myself and I think Marjorie Hoff is teaching with me. I should know that. Yes, it is her. And so, yes, absolutely. Like that will be anytime. And if any changes, and Dawn and I have talked specifically about this, any changes that are going to be made to the undergraduate opening, the advanced opening, at any time in the future, there will be a faculty training before any of that gets rolled out to the public. So rest assured, if there's any instructors listening or hear about it, 1,000% we will do, provide the book, provide any instruction on how, it is used. I literally have like my instructor manual is say this here and here. So nobody will be left not knowing how to teach or what to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's one thing, being faculty myself and teaching a couple of different courses, that I really like about the Edge is it doesn't, you could have a good teacher or a bad teacher, a good professor, bad professor in college, in, law school or wherever. But with Edge, Dawn really tries to make sure that we're all teaching the same thing. So you're getting the same thing and from one to the next, with a little bit, obviously everybody has their own flair, their own personality, but it's a good comfort to know you're getting the information, right?
Absolutely. And not like having, it's not that all of us don't have our individual things to add, but that is something that can be done, I think, outside the context of the college. Like say someone meets you as an instructor and can say, hey, what's like, Jenna's opinion on this, instead of everything under the college really is monitored. And I hope people know that it's really monitored and very closely to make sure it's all congruent and everything being taught is approved by, Dawn. And that makes it just much more, you don't want one person saying maybe they have tweaked it in their practice and I might tweak it this way, which is fine. Go off and do what you want, but don't be teaching that and then having things be contradictory or whatnot. So I think that's something that's really great, is that everything, here are the basic steps, and here this is being provided to you in a way that's being provided to everyone, and no like contradictions of, the way it's used in application.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's super. So, Amy, in addition to teaching, I guess, advanced openings, what other courses do you teach that are helpful for developing a foundation for making a great opening and just overall good trial skills?
Yeah, I teach advanced opening and then closings.
Okay.
So closings, that's a 3-day course. And just closing liability. And it is, kind of very similar in the sense, of all things Edge, in that it is very template based. And we, really go through hands-on, like get on your feet. This is the template, get up, use your case and do it. And so at the end of both advanced opening and closing, you have a opening written and you have a closing written, right? So if you take those two classes a year before trial, you literally have your roadmap and you just have to fill in, right? You have your order of proof already set out from both of those, writing those, and then you just have to fill in the blanks. And so it makes a really nice, if you have made it through the colleges, have done the work, like it really makes an easy template for doing depositions and discovery and knowing what you need and what demonstratives you need and et cetera. So, very similar in the sense that they're very template driven. And just, I mean, closing is a phenomenal course, and one that's been, we in the faculty talked about it. It's one that's kind of sad that it's not in person because it is so on your feet and so interactive. Every part of that course is getting up and, giving your closing statement. And, but it gives us practice to do it on Zoom. So,
Yeah, I know if you're doing a Zoom trial, you might as well be practicing things on
practice.
Zoom.
Yeah, being interactive. And that's why, I tell people, I've heard a few speakers recently talking about doing Zoom trials and, oh, you can't connect with people on Zoom. And I'm like, well, you're probably not doing enough focus groups then, because you can. I mean, if you do enough, and it's an option. I don't know that it will ever be the same, but it definitely is. You are able, it is a skill that you can learn if you're practicing. And so I just really encourage people to do focus groups, and you can do it. I promise.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, doing it virtually has been really interesting because it did in the beginning take some time to figure out how to get people to crosstalk and engage, and because your neighbor isn't just sitting right next to you. And over, the couple of years we've been doing it, I don't know that I would necessarily go back to in person just because it's so convenient for me. I don't have to travel all the way up to Seattle or like in Benton County, right? If you wanted to do one over there, you don't have to fly to the Tri-Cities or.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and people like it. Nobody wants to leave their house, right? Yeah. Like, maybe somebody does. I don't know anybody that wants to leave their house. So, you get people that want to be there and want to be participating. And it also is helping, you're creating jobs, really gigs maybe in the community, but it makes me feel good too, to be providing those to people that are looking for work and want to be a part of something and have really been missing connection too. So I think that's probably been one of my greatest gifts during the pandemic, was being able to still do focus groups and connect with people. And even though doing them, for other people can get taxing at times, it's such a gift to be able to say, well, I know how people are thinking, right? I know how this whole thing has played out in the public's mind. So that's a really nice thing.
Mm-hmm. For sure. So what if I have not filed my case yet,
okay,
or I'm like really far from trial? When should I attend the openings college?
I would say, as somebody, and I'm sure everybody listening has been really close to trial and not had an opening written, and you probably wish that you would have written it when you started. Mm-hmm. I would say there's no time too soon. There was times where we, working at the Keenan law firm, we would do a narrative or say a safety focus group to intake the case. And then the next focus group might be the opening. Like, one of the next assignments for the referring attorneys is get an opening written. And how many times I heard, like, I don't have enough information. It's like, well, just use what you have. And then we get to build. Like, what, one of the questions we always ask at the end of a focus group, what more do you want to know? Right. So if you know enough, everybody knows enough from one intake call with their client to write an opening statement. It might be really short, might be 5 minutes, but you can at least say, okay, focus group participants, I've written this, I've shown you this. What more, what did you hear? What more do you want to know? Is this worth it? Not worth it? What can each side say? What are the best defense arguments they're going to come up with? And you can start anticipating that stuff. So I would say the earlier the better. And you definitely want to do it before you do discovery, because you want to end depositions, because you have to know what your safety rules are. What are the items on your checklist, right? So, well, I know that I too fail, right? And it doesn't mean that it always gets done. That would be the gold standard, especially if you get a case that is going to be like one of your, big cases for the year or next couple of years. Really take the time, because it can take 10 minutes, right? Go to the college, get it done, 10 minutes of homework, and you can get at least an outline done.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. Because I mean, like you said, it informs your order of proof. So it's like, okay, who am I going to depose to get this information? Who am I going to talk to get that? Maybe I can talk to a witness or, an expert or something like that. Okay. So we have another question that kind of ties into what I just asked from Peter Levine. And he's wondering how or if the new opening template impacts what's taught in other courses. So for example, if you go to the graduate and you get this new template, is you gonna have to take all the courses again, or?
That's a really good question. So I think that the seeing is believing course, and all positive. I don't think that the we call it I hate saying the newer template because it's not new anymore, but the current like advanced opening template really works well with seeing is believing, because a lot of the demonstratives that we talk about using in opening are taught how to in the seeing is believing course. Closing, if you've seen Dawn give a closing or watched him at seminars do one or attended the course, the closing still mirrors very closely a lot of the order of the advanced opening template, so that nothing is contradictory or changes. And let me think, what are other, nothing, it really just, all of the courses just mirror, the order of proof, depositions, what do you want to get in your depositions? How do you get the items on your checklist and safety rules? So all of the courses really just complement and mirror the elements in the opening template. Nothing being taught in the college is contradictory, and that's a huge like priority, I know, for Hoey and Tony and for Mr. Keenan. Like that's been every discussion we have. It's like we have to make sure that everything being taught is congruent and melds together. And so I know that that is the case with all of the courses being taught.
Okay, so we could still go to that graduate openings course and not feel like our worlds are going to be turned upside down.
No, not at all. It's only an addition, nothing's being like, only wording, right? Like you said, there's certain words that we don't use anymore, but nothing is like, don't do this, right? It's all an addition and a refining and what people want, what the jurors are asking for, comparatively to like a switch up, if that makes sense.
Sure. Okay. All right. So everybody who's listening, Amy does have a deposition at 1. So we're being mindful of time here. So if you have questions, please get them in so that she can answer them within the next few minutes so that we can let her go just a bit early today. So I'm trying to think. So tell us what the program was like for you when you worked with Papa Don. What was it like being there watching? I know you said it was awesome to be in the soup while they were making this book, but just kind of overall, give a little plug for the fellowship program.
Well, it was very, my experience was I worked at a defense firm for a few years. I went straight through law school, very like, nothing too crazy about background. I always knew I wanted to be a lawyer. Did the, what was the first job during 2008 that I could get during the lull in jobs, did some defense work, and then just knew that that wasn't, I needed, I just at heart a plaintiff's attorney. And so switched sides. And it was great. I worked at, anybody that knows me worked at GLP attorneys, which was awesome, right? Like I had the opportunity to try cases. I had the opportunity to have autonomy over my own cases and just like a huge network within that firm of support. And, the firm started working with Don. I think one of the attorneys had a referred case with him. And so really started employing the EDGE principles. I didn't even subscribe, didn't have any idea who Don Keenan was prepping for a DEP one day and had one of his blogs. You know how you just like randomly pull stuff off the internet and are like, I'm going to prep with this blog. And it was about like deposing IME doctors. And at the top of it, it said, fellowship, come down and live in Florida for very little money and for a year and learn from me. And I don't know if people believe in like fate or whatnot, but I remember reading that and being like, I'm going to do that. And I was like, I don't know. I was like, I don't know why, but I just know that I'm going to do this. And so it happened. I applied and got it and whatnot. And it was hard. Like I would be lying if I said it wasn't very difficult, because it's you are working all the time. Don has committed his life to his job and his purpose, and he works all of the time. And it is evident in, the growth of the college. He is involved in everything and does all of this stuff. He's very brilliant. And I think people know that by seeing it, but I don't know that they know, really how hard he works. And it taught me to do that almost to a fault. Like now I just work all the time. So it's like,
Oh, no.
I work on a laptop now and bring it with me everywhere. So, I have to learn. It's been a deconditioning of like learning to relax and like sort of thing. But no, it changed my life for sure. Like just focus groups in general, and like the opportunity to write books. And, he just gives everyone around him opportunities to not only improve themselves, but then improve the organization and help other people. So I think it's a really amazing gift that he gives to all of us, and gift to be able to do that.
Okay, so you don't have to be like in KTI or have taken all the colleges or anything like that to apply for one of these fellowships?
No, I literally didn't. I hadn't read one thing. I spent my first couple months, Mindy probably wanted to kill me. I didn't even know, like I spent my first couple of months like reading the Edge blogs.
All right.
So,
oh, Mindy, poor Mindy. She's probably losing her mind.
oh yeah. Like I remember looking back now, I mean, I was like, I didn't know anything.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Okay. That's how I was when I first started as well. I did not know who Don was. I stumbled across like a thing. He actually talked to me on LinkedIn because I went to law school near where that rape trial happened in Boston.
Yeah.
Complete fluke. So, I mean, see, anybody who's listening, you can get involved. You don't have to be intimidated. You don't have to jump in and do all of the colleges right away. You will want to, once you get started, you will want to do them all, but just get started. Just do one little thing. Francis Murphy just wants to confirm, will the book be available at the end of January? I know that's the plan, but
yeah, I have to finish it and somebody else has to read it and edit it. But yeah, that's my deadline.
Okay. Okay. So people,
I was only a year late on the focus group book, but I actually had to write that whole thing. So it is completed. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Plan on that.
So maybe end of January 2022, maybe end of January 2023, or just end of January.
No, it will definitely be we will have it done before the next advanced opening class in March. I am positive of that.
All right, folks, we have it on record. You can always come back to this if it doesn't happen and hold Amy to her word. So yes. Thank you, Amy, so much for being here today. Thank you for squeezing us in before your deposition this afternoon. Good luck with that. Thank you to all of you who joined us today live for this week's episode of Fridays with Keenan's Cutting Edge. If you liked the episode, please click that thumbs up button and subscribe and sign up for alerts so you don't miss the next one. Next week, we will be hearing from Michael Ryder out of Maryland, who's going to be speaking to us on how to use EDGE in jurisdictions where you do not have attorney-led voir dire. Now, this is a topic that was requested by multiple people on the EDGE listservs. So I think you'll enjoy hearing from Mike on this topic because it is one that a lot of people deal with. And Mike and his law firm have mastered it. So I can't wait to learn more about it with all of you. Have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you next time.